time for critical thinking. And what do you have?
I want to talk about education or school as an investment or as a hobby. You know, we often go to school and we enjoy it, but it doesn't necessarily always pay off. And an article caught my attention that really seems to highlight this problem.
And it's about culinary school.
It is.
And it says a class action lawsuit against San Francisco's California Culinary Academy, part of Career Education Corp's chain of 16 Le Cordon Bleu cooking schools, has a pending $40 million settlement in state court. Wow. The Career Education has agreed to offer rebates up to $20,000 to 8,500 students who attended the academy between 2003 and 2008.
So apparently they got out, but they couldn't get a job, and they seem to have been misled. Although I don't know, it's a pending lawsuit and so on. This is all allegedly, but it highlights the point that a lot of people go to school and they think it's an investment, and it ends up kind of more like a hobby, and they cross the two thinking they're getting something done that's also fun.
I'll be out and get a job right away with high income.
And they misprice the investment and the risk and the reward of the investment. And I think mainly it's because they don't think of it as an investment. They think of it as something that they would really enjoy. Cooking, which I've done in a kitchen.
It can be very enjoyable.
It can be if you're sitting there cooking for your friends with a beer in your hand. If you're pulling an 8-hour shift on the line and people are screaming at you to get your orders out, it's not as much fun. And
no.
I've been in both places, and I'd rather cook on the barbecue with my buddies. So when I think about this situation, I think often that you should just consider education as an investment. That's how to make a good decision here. An investment means your future income will be higher to offset the cost and the time and the money to go get the education. Which means if you go get a law degree, you have to go become a lawyer and make a lawyer's salary, which is not often the case. And if you go after a medical degree, you're going to have to finish medical school and become a doctor and then pay all those loans back and have that life. And oftentimes we think we're going to be on top of things, on top of the world, and be a celebrity chef on television, and we don't really understand what we're going into until we get there. And so
it could be a grind.
That's right. So the hobby portion of learning how to cook or going to school and having fun is wonderful, but if it's an investment, you have to simply look at it as the risk and the reward of the investment money and time and energy that you're spending. So it's okay to have investments with leverage, which is what borrowing is, right? Debt is leverage.
Oh, yes, it is.
So you borrow for your education, and that's okay if the investment's going to pay off. If it doesn't pay off, you have mountains of debt. And I can't.
Apparently, a lot have not been paying off.
Of course. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen with 6 figures worth of debt. And if they didn't have that debt and they didn't have the degree, they would be far better off than having a mountain of debt and a piece of paper in a field they don't want to work in or they can't find a job in. And so that's a problem. And schools constantly are pushing you to take on more student loans. Oh, it'll pay off. It's paid off for other people. Well, it doesn't have to pay off. So think of education as an investment, and you have to make it pay off. And if it's not going to pay off, then don't use debt to finance it. Think of it as a hobby, and don't use debt to finance your hobbies.
Okay. Well, there's also 2 other Le Cordon Bleu schools, the California School of Culinary Arts in Pasadena and the Western Culinary Institute in Portland. And they also face lawsuits from former students who say they were duped by deceptive advertising, particularly the school's job placement rates.
Well, we don't know if that's true or not.
They could
That's
have
allegedly.
been older job placement rates before the
Well, and the
recession
economy
hit.
went in the dumpers, so that's going to affect their placement rates too. But nevertheless, when you're considering education, you have to think through and say, do I really want that life? Go talk to people who have that life and what it's really going to take before you start borrowing money that you're going to have to pay back and maybe don't have a job to pay it back with.
And what's your takeaway?
So the takeaway is, when thinking about education, consider if it's an investment or a hobby. If it's an investment, calculate the risk and reward as you would a house or a stock. If it's a hobby, it can come from discretionary income, just like a vacation. It's a luxury for which you should never take on any debt at all.